So in this video, we're going to be looking at the second half of this practice set in which we're given the name and asked to draw the structure. So looking at number 16 here, I can see that the name ends in "-one", and that tells me it is a ketone. Ketone means there's a carbon with a double bond to an oxygen, and then there's carbons on either side of it. Breaking down the name further, when I see pent, that means 5 carbons, and 3 means that the ketone group is on the third carbon. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do this. So now I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 carbons with the ketone coming off of the third carbon. And when you're doing these, let's say it's okay to just draw the backbone and not worry about the hydrogens. So recognize that in reality we've got hydrogens coming off of all of these carbons, but don't worry about drawing them in for every example. I'll do it once so that we know what we're talking about here. Okay, so problem 17, it's an ether. Ether means I've got an O with carbons on either side, and it is methyl propyl ether. So that means one side just has a carbon, so I'm already done with that side. The other side is going to have 3 carbons because of that prop base name. So that's what methyl propyl ether looks like. Again, we're assuming there's hydrogens coming off of all these carbons. Okay, number 18 has an "-all" ending. That means there is an alcohol group in there somewhere. It's going to be attached to a carbon. Since it's 1 butanol, that means my alcohol group's attached to the end carbon. And the but tells me there's 4 carbons in my chain. So 1, 2, 3, 4. That is 1 butanol. Propanol, pay attention to the al versus the all. This is an aldehyde. Aldehyde looks like this. It's basically a ketone on an end carbon, so it looks like that. Prop means there's 3 carbons in there, so I'm going to do 1, 2, 3 carbons, and that gets my 3-carbon aldehyde. Benzene is just one to memorize. It looks like a hexagon, like that, with alternating double bonds. If you wanted to draw out all the carbons, which typically people don't because it takes a while, it would look like this. There you go. And you would have 1 hydrogen coming off of each of those carbons. These are also known as aromatics. So those are the benzene groups. So it is C6H6 if you're curious, the chemical formula. So you should know benzene. Okay, propylamine. So prop means 3 carbons, and then amine means there's this nitrogen sticking off of it. So it looks like this: 1, 2, 3 carbons with an amine at the end there. I should have put a 1 here actually. This should say 1 propylamine, or let's see, let me write this over here. It should say propan 1 amine to show it's coming off the end carbon and not the central carbon. Okay, methyl propanoate. So if I see this ill O8, that tells me it's an ester. And the first word tells me this alkyl group, so there's just 1 carbon there. And then I'm going to have an O and then a C double bond O here. So right here, this is my ester functional group. And this side of it, since there's a prop, this side has 3 carbons, so it looks like this. Again, butyl ethanoate, so another ester. This time, why don't I start with the ester kind of backbone here in my functional group. So every ester is going to have that in it. And since it says butyl, that means the side with just the carbon over here, there's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4 carbons because of the but. Means 4. And on this other side, eth means 2 carbons, so that means this side just has 2 carbons on it. So again, the second word is telling you the side of the molecule that has the double bond on it. The first word is telling you about this side of the molecule. And again, I like to think of my molecules being split in half, being separated by that middle oxygen there. Okay, just a few more. 20. Ane, it's an alkane. Pent means 5, so I'm going to start with a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 carbon alkane group there. And I have dimethyl, so I'm going to have methyl groups coming off of the second and third carbons there. Okay, this one is all, so it's an alcohol, and it's heptanol, so hept means 7, so let's start with that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. It looks like the alcohol group is coming off of the second carbon, so I'm going to draw that right here. And then 4 ethyl, 1, 2, 3, 4. That means I have an ethyl group coming off of the fourth carbon, so it's going to look like this. And those are our practice problems from writing formulas based on name. You want to be able to do both.